In today's survival guide, we're showcasing Elwynn Forest, and I'd like to share with you some of my tips and tricks I've learned from leveling Alliance and Hardcore. So let's prepare your new one life character for success beyond Elwynn. First off, we've got to get the treasure chest locations out of the way. Be on the lookout for some easier minor healing potions while you're leveling. Elwynn is unique in the sense that it's the only starting zone that has vendors for lesser healing potions, which can be bought for 1 silver each. So if you run over in Stormwind, it's a little bit pricey at this level. Go to the vendor in Stormwind and the vendor in Tower of Azora. In this instance, if I had 5 silver, I would basically have 5 lay on hands for the rest of the zone. Before you leave Elwynn Forest, you're going to want to complete the quest Gold Dust Exchange to get your 10 charges of Bag of Marbles. This is the Alliance equivalent to Horde Sticky Glue in Slumber Sand, and make sure you have this keybound for any difficult NPC encounters or an instance where you're trying to run away and you pull additional mobs and you just need to mitigate as much damage as possible. Next, I want you to consider leaving Elwynn Forest around level 7 or 8 before you go to Eastvale Logging Camp and take the tram over to Dunmoreau and complete all of the zone before returning to Elwynn. These two zones are easy to travel back and forth from, and I would take advantage of the additional XP, gold, and time you can spend on your professions. If you're a spellcaster, consider grinding out 60 linen cloth in either of the kobold camps and craft your lesser magic wand with tailoring and enchanting. If you're not going mining and engineering, I like to farm the kobold geomancers for their magic candle, which shares a cooldown with engineering bombs. Alternatively, if you're going engineering, like we pointed out in our Queen 14 video, you only need 80 copper ore and a few tin and pieces of wool cloth to make 10 target dummies right away. So jumping in between both zones and spending a little more time in the 1 to 10 areas to farm more copper ore can really get your character set up for long-term success. Another unique item you're going to want to farm before leaving Elwynn is an 8-slot bag, which drops from a level 12 rare spawn north of Eastvale Logging Camp. He's pretty much killed on cooldown, but I've seen him up more often than not. He also has a chance to drop a one-handed sword, but most classes would prefer the bag space. Now let's take a look at the most dangerous spots in Elwynn. I like to use these encounters as like a training ground for the rest of your way to level 60. We're going to be abusing the NPC pathing around fence posts and line of sighting spellcasters around walls. These are two things you need to be able to execute at all times. People normally pull Princess and run while killing her and run to a fence post, and if there's anything we learned from Sony D,
it's no big deal, and you know what? If he didn't care, he wouldn't break my chop.
What the fuck?
Right.
you don't want to get boars mobile. I'd either stand in place and burn Princess down without moving, and then hamstring each of the adds and abort once one mob is killed, or ranged pull an add and burn it down, and then strafe around a fence post and leech the mobs and do it again until it's just Princess. However you go about killing her, it's going to take some finesse, which is what you need for the follow-up quest Gold Pickup Schedule. It will require you to kill one of 3 NPCs in this house, and while spellcasters are normally terrifying, they're welcome in this situation. With a little bit of touch, you can turn a 3v1 into a 2v1 and completely take out the spellcaster out of the equation by line of sighting her around the house. You should do this against every spellcaster you can from 1 to 60, so practice getting the NPC to stand where you want it to after canceling their cast, and then begin to cast their next one, and just try and get your ebb and flow going with the spellcaster. Lastly, we're going to look at Hogger. Once a treacherous villain slaying 40-man level 1 raids of no mages, he's been belittled to being able to be killed by a single level 1 rogue with throwing weapons. So, dragging him across the river, and at this fence post, you can kite him in circles until his death. Again, I like executing this strategy because it will help you learn how long it takes for mobs to releash and how to keep NPCs in combat if you're trying to kite them to a fence post or a guard. Don't forget to like the video, comment your own tips and tricks for this zone, or what you'd like to see next, and check out the description for more survival content. Cheers.